He stood face to face with an innocent man and still sentenced him to die. He knew the truth, he said it out loud, and then he ignored it. This is the story of Pontius Pilate, the man who chose pressure over truth.
Light revealed.
Pontius Pilate, the man who could have saved Jesus, but didn't. Before that moment, he was a man of authority appointed under Tiberius. Pilate ruled Judea with the full weight of Rome behind him. Order mattered, control mattered, and above all, loyalty to Caesar. He was sent to keep peace in a province that hated Rome. The Jews resented their conquerors. They hated the taxes, they hated the idols, and they hated the foreign rulers who sat in judgment over them. Pilate was in charge, but he was surrounded by enemies. Pilate arrived in Judea and immediately made enemies. He ordered his soldiers to bring Roman standards, bearing the emperor's image, into Jerusalem at night. For Romans, this was normal. For Jews, it was an idol, a desecration of their holy city. When the people woke up, they were horrified. Jewish leaders traveled to Caesarea to beg Pilate to remove the images. He refused. For 5 days they lay prostrate before his palace. Pilate threatened death. They refused to move. For the first time, Pilate saw what he was dealing with. These people would rather die than compromise their faith. He ordered the standards removed. The Jewish leaders won. But Pilate never forgot the humiliation, and he would make them pay. Pilate needed water for Jerusalem. He proposed building an aqueduct, but he wanted to use money from the temple treasury to fund it. The people were furious. They gathered to protest. Pilate did not back down this time. He sent soldiers in civilian clothes into the crowd, with clubs hidden in their cloaks. At his signal, they beat the protesters. Many were killed. The crowd scattered. The aqueduct was built. But the hatred for Pilate grew deeper. For years, Pilate had protection in Rome through Sejanus, the second most powerful man in the empire. But in 31 AD, Sejanus was executed for treason. Pilate's shield was gone. Now, one complaint, one accusation could cost Pilate everything. The Jewish leaders knew it. He was walking on eggshells, and he knew if they brought a complaint to Rome, no one would defend him. The Jewish leaders knew Pilate was vulnerable. They had tried to trap him before. Now they had something that could destroy him, a man called Jesus, a man some called King. Pilate knew the charge was political. If this man claimed to be king, he was a threat to Caesar. If Pilate let him go, he would be accused of protecting a rival. His career, his life, everything was on the line. Then they brought him in, a man accused but not afraid. There was no panic in his eyes, no desperation, only calm. And somehow, that unsettled Pilate more than any rebellion ever could. Pilate questioned him, searched for guilt, and found none. He knew this man was innocent. He said it out loud. But knowing the truth and choosing the truth are two different things. While Pilate sat in judgment, his wife sent him a message. She had suffered much in a dream because of Jesus. Have nothing to do with that righteous man, she said. A warning from his own household, a voice telling him to stop. But the crowd was already too loud. The pressure was already too great, he had to decide. The crowd grew louder, shouting, demanding crucify him. The noise drowned out reason, drowned out justice, until all that remained was pressure. In that moment, Pilate wasn't choosing between right and wrong, but between truth and consequences, between an innocent man and his own survival. Pilate tried one last time. He had Jesus flogged. He hoped the crowd would see a beaten man and have pity. He brought Jesus out, wearing a crown of thorns and a purple robe. "Behold the man," he said, "a broken man, a harmless man. Surely now they would let him go." But the crowd only shouted louder, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" The leaders shouted, "If you release this man, you are not Caesar's friend." The political trap snapped shut. Pilate was out of options. He had to choose truth or safety, justice or power, an innocent man or his career. He could not have both. And in that moment, he made his choice. He called for water and washed his hands before the crowd. But water ran over his skin. It could not wash away the decision already made in his heart. Pilate said, "I am innocent of this man's blood. See to it yourselves." The crowd answered, "His blood be on us and on our children." And then Pilate handed Jesus over to be crucified. He had the power to save an innocent man, but chose to save himself instead. He asked, "What is truth?" while truth stood right in front of him, and he chose to look away. After Jesus' death, Pilate ruled for several more years, but his troubles continued. In 36 AD, a Samaritan prophet gathered followers on Mount Gerizim. Pilate sent soldiers. They attacked. Many were killed. The Samaritans complained to Rome. This time, Pilate could not escape. For centuries, some doubted Pilate was real. Then in 1961, archaeologists found this stone in Caesarea. It reads, "Pontius Pilate, prefect of Judea." The man who condemned Jesus was real, and his story is more complex than we often imagine. What happened to Pilate after that? History is unclear. Some sources say he was exiled. Some say he died on the way to Rome. One tradition says he committed suicide under Emperor Caligula. The stone with his name is the last trace of him, but his name lives on. Every Sunday, millions of Christians around the world say the words, "He suffered under Pontius Pilate." His name is in the creed, not because of his power, not because of his achievements, because of the choice he made. He had the chance to set Jesus free. He chose not to. He judged Jesus. Now history judges him, the man who could have saved an innocent man, but didn't. Pilate asked the question we all must answer. What is truth? Is it political safety? Is it what the crowd says? Is it what is convenient? Or is it standing before Jesus and admitting he is the truth? John 18:38. Pilate said to him, "What is truth?" He asked the question. Then he walked away before he could hear the answer. The truth is still standing. The question is still waiting. What will you choose? This is the light revealed. What do you think Pilate was thinking when he washed his hands? Comment below. Subscribe to the light for more ancient truths. And remember, the light is just beginning.